I am glad to have met with Prime Minister Edi Rama here in Brussels today. Let me start by saying that enlargement remains a strong priority for the European Union and personally for me. However, as I just conveyed to Prime Minister Rama, every step on the road ahead will bring new responsibilities and more hard work. But I know that you know this much better than me. Albania is now a candidate for membership of the Union, so we hope and expect that it will intensify its reform efforts. The focus should be on the priorities identified last December. This will establish a solid track record and allow for the next step on the path to accession to be taken. A lot has already been achieved, including on the fight against drug-related crime. However, what is looked for and what is needed is implementation across the board. In our meeting, I praised Prime Minister Rama for the positive role that his country is playing in the Western Balkans. Its commitment to a zero-problem policy with neighboring countries is both constructive and exemplary. Its chairing of the South-East European cooperation process is another opportunity for Albania to show itself as the archetype of the good neighbor. I also use this opportunity to commend Albania for its 100% alignment with EU policy in foreign affairs. This is of real significance for the enlargement process, and even more so now, given the situation in Ukraine and other common challenges. Finally, we talked about the need for increased and improved domestic dialogue in Albania. Confrontational politics, boycotts, and the winner takes it all attitude will not help Albanian citizens. To become a modern mainstream European country, Albania needs to build a culture of compromise-based political dialogue. This creates the optimum framework for delivering tough but much-needed political reforms. It is of particular importance also in view of the upcoming local elections. Albania should be as constructive and as reasonable in its own political life as it is in the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your very warm welcome today. And let me say that it was a very good day for us, and we'll go back to Albania with a lot of energy for the encouragement we had from the morning meeting with the President of the Commission and from this meeting with you. We are particularly grateful for the consistent support that President Tusk shows to Albania's EU accession process. We had the opportunity to discuss, of course, the EU's enlargement agenda as both a geostrategic and a political project. A project is at the very core of Albania's foreign and domestic policies. But we also exchanged views on recent developments in the EU's neighborhood, both in the east, Ukraine, and in the south, Middle East and South Mediterranean. Also in the framework of Albania's chairmanship of the Southeast Europe cooperation process, I informed President Tusk of the recent security, energy and cooperation trends in our region. There is a risk that the Western Balkans might stagnate in terms of democratic standards and also in terms of security in a challenging new environment upon which the countries of the region must make considerable efforts to face international threats. And this risk is terrorism. In other terms, there is a growing risk that the Western Balkans remain at the periphery of Europe, especially in terms of economic gaps, and this is something that we absolutely want to avoid. The Western Balkans have the potential to be a success story for the EU. The success of Europe's democratization and stabilization agenda depends on the credibility and successful enlargement policy in the Balkans. In the new security situation, stability in the Balkans grows even more important. The European perspective is crucial in keeping our region on the path of peace and cooperation. Albania has been consistent and will be consistent in aligning its positions with those of the EU. This demonstrates that we share the values of which European security is built, and we want to represent them in every situation, being normal or being especially difficult situation. Part of our discussion today focused on the way the EU can further extend its efforts to help the Western Balkans become a true region in economic terms. In this context, we believe that the Berlin process is a chance to reinvigorate the accession process and help it to remain a tool that transforms the region into a vibrant and prosperous democratic space. To keep the momentum created by the Berlin Conference, we are focused on concretely following and implementing the decisions of the Berlin Conference through jointly identified regional projects that promote growth, competitiveness and employment in our area. We want to make sure that the upcoming conference on the Western Balkans in Vienna in August becomes a milestone for the definition of regional projects. And by concluding, I want to thank again the President for the precious time he reserved for us, and to underline that today Europe needs the Balkans as much as the Balkans need Europe. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Here in Brussels as a